Each year, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Orper brings you his winter weather forecast.
However, he doesn't just use any old forecasting techniques. I had the time to sit down and talk with Kevin. Take a listen. So Kevin, we talk about your winter weather forecast, and you talk a lot about weather lore and signs from nature. Kind of tell me how that all came about.
Well, my grandma used to have all these great sayings and things. When I was a little kid, 5 or 6 years old, I'd hear her say these things. And I thought that was pretty cool. And as I grew older, I found that actually they kind of worked out, you know. That fascinated me and still does, because I actually believe that things are all connected, that one thing can indicate another. And so I've just kind of been very interested in that, always tried to kind of ride that along and kind of preserve those sayings, actually, because hardly anybody's ever doing it anymore, so I'm just trying to preserve it.
So these signs you talk about, do you think that they're reliable?
Not always, not always, but often they are. See, here's what I think, 200 years ago, just a few generations ago, people didn't have, Channel 10 or, whatever to tell them what the weather was going to be.
Right.
And so it seems to me that in creation there has to be this way of people being able to tell what the weather is going to be and what the seasons are going to be and how they're going to shape up.
So this year, what are specifically, some of the things that you looked at?
Well, it's interesting because the trees were hanging on to their leaves really late into the season.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting, and typically that's going to be a sign of a rough winter, of a harsh winter. And another thing is that our flowers at our house, I had petunias blooming into the very first part of November.
Wow.
And roses too. And so there's another old saying that says, if summertime flowers continue to bloom well into the autumn, then that's a sign. So I looked at those two. There's another one that I think is kind of interesting. As tall as the weeds are, that's how much snow you'll have. Well, not exactly, but the weeds were pretty tall. Maybe it's because people didn't cut them, I don't know. But the weeds were tall, and so that also is an indication of a lot of snow. So I'm going to go, I'm thinking it's going to be a cold and snowy winter. Check out those geese.
Yeah.
They're floating along there, going somewhere.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And so, Kevin, you talk about snowfall a lot.
Yeah.
And you kind of give us specific days where you think it can snow.
Yes.
How do you do that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm not telling you. I do have a way of doing it. I have a method of doing it.
Okay.
And it's not always right, but I found that it works. For the most part, not all the time, but a lot of times it works. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the sky. Something in the sky, what's in the sky, gives me a clue about when it might rain or snow or so. That's all I'm going to tell you. But yeah, I have a way of doing it. I'm not telling you.
Okay. That was really fun. Now stay tuned. Kevin's winter weather forecast will be airing right here at the top of the hour for News 10 at 6. News 10 First 5 will be right back.